All right, welcome to our weekly Whys today. To those online, welcome. Glad to have you here, and I'm very excited for our weekly Whys today. Before I go ahead and introduce our speaker, I do want to introduce what weekly Whys is for those that this may be the first time. So we began weekly Whys just a little over a month ago, I guess now, and to be honest, it started out as we were trying to figure out what do we do with all this leftover ice cream. There's a long story behind that if you don't know, but
Hey, how are you guys?
Yeah, how are you? Hey, come on in. Hey, ready? Hey,
Yeah,
doing great. Come on in, have a seat.
How you doing?
So the way we got started is with trying to figure out, what do we do with all this ice cream that we had left over from a Ben & Jerry's free cone day, and that's.
How are you doing? Good. How's the donut going?
So that's how we're. Sorry, I'm just trying to get people just come in. So we're welcoming them. So the way Weekly's Whys got started, we started with the ice cream and wanted to figure out how to use all this leftover ice cream. We have 3 freezers in our garage full of Ben & Jerry's, and so we had a a lot of fun with that. And
friend or something?
My brother. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's really hard for them when you're chatting.
Oh.
We're going. This is it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is it.
okay.
We've
Sorry
started.
about that.
I
I thought we were just testing.
No, we're not testing. We're
Sorry
going. So I'm
about
sitting here
that.
trying to say I've said the same thing 3 times because I'm like, I can't think. So it's all good. So yeah, getting started with Weekly Whys. So we have all this ice cream. We're trying to figure out what to do with it. We wanted to integrate it somehow with our business, but we also wanted to try to figure out how do we do more than just, hey, here's some ice cream, here's some, here's a business presentation. That's it. We wanted to provide more value and make something interesting for people, and we wanted to do it in a way that people who wanted to come to our event would be people. We would naturally attract the people that could be a good fit for what we're doing in our business. They'd be interested in here in our business just by the nature of wanting to come to whatever we put on. And so that's how we created this event, these Weekly Whys. We invite different people who have a message to share to come, to share their message. And today we are so blessed to have Wylene Benson with us to share her experience. And I can't express to you how thrilled I am to have her here. I have been able to work with Wylene for, I don't know how long I've known you now, a couple of years probably, yeah. And there's a lot I could say about this woman. She's really phenomenal. She comes through and she says she's going to do something. She's very dependable. She's an excellent mentor. She's asked me excellent questions that have helped me find my guidance as I was trying to work through a problem or work through an issue, a mindset to break through and get through what I was wanting to do and to become. And I've seen her and watched her do that same thing with others. It's just she's an inspiration and a help to all who get to know her and meet her. So it is with great honor and pleasure that I introduce to you Wylene Benson.
Thank you. Okay, you guys have to applaud for me. I'm going to ask for that applause. Matt, I apologize. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I know we're live and it was 8 o'clock, and so it's time to start. So I don't know what I was thinking. I just assumed you were just doing some testing. So I apologize for interrupting you.
You're good.
I am really excited to be able to be here tonight when Matt and Brian, I don't know if it was your brainchild or you and Ryan together, or
I think it was actually our wives.
Your wives?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was largely, I think it was them. They got together talking about it, and we had talked about doing things in our home before, and it was never of interest, but this idea they came up with it, so they were all behind it, and they said, now you go make it happen.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, tell them thank you. I have watched this. I've watched the recordings that you posted and have heard people, have come to this and have just been really inspired. And so I think that it's a really great opportunity for people to share their why. For those of you watching and those of you here, how many of you feel like that's really the most important question that you can ask yourself is, why am I doing what I'm doing? Anybody? Yeah, because there's always going to be things that will come up things that will, little roadblocks and things that happen. And if we don't know why we're doing something, then it's easy to just to quit, just to try something different, maybe get your attention diverted. And so that kind of brings me to actually what I wanted to talk about tonight. On the Facebook event, I put that something about how to live a life without fear. And yeah, live without fear. And I can honestly say that I live my life on a day-to-day basis with no fear, and from a space of complete peace and clarity. And so what I wanted to share with you tonight is just a little teeny snippet of maybe something that you can take home to help you get to that point as well. Of course, this has been a journey for me. It's not something that happened overnight. But what I'm going to share with you tonight is, to me, was one of the very first steps that helped me get to that point. So I'm going to start out with a question, just ask you a question. What is the next step that you need to take to create a stronger and a more influential business for yourself? I'd love some feedback.
I got to think about it for a second.
What is the next step that you need to take in your business to create a stronger and more influential business?
I was actually listening to a podcast, Tim Ferriss podcast the other day. He interviews like really influential people, like people that started Elon Musk and people started Uber and all these things. And he talked about writing down his to-do list of the day. And he says the way he knows how to prioritize it is he finds which one he fears. And whichever one makes him feel more uncomfortable or a little bit scared, he knows that's the most important thing to get done. If you get that done, then it's a win.
The rest of it's a piece of cake.
The rest of it's easy.
Awesome. I've heard that before. I can't remember if it was Steve Jobs or somebody else that I heard. I don't know if it was Steve Jobs or not, but that's the first thing that came to mind, that said that very thing, that he looks at his list, he does the thing that he fears the most or that's the hardest, and then the rest of it's just a piece of cake. So good. That's good. Well, I'm going to tell you, I actually asked that question of myself, and I'm going to tell you what the answer was. Because honestly, how many of you, the thought crossed your mind, I don't know what the next step is. Okay.
Yeah,
so I'm just going to tell you right now, I never ask that question. That question never happens in my world anymore. I never ask the question, I don't know, or say the statement, I don't know. So I did ask myself this question: what is the next step to create a stronger and more influential business for myself? And the answer was, unleash yourself from financial bondage. So for me, that was my personal answer for that question. Now the rest of you are going to get something completely different, but I want to just take that a step further, because that was not an answer that I really expected. I thought it was going to be like some step that I would take, to create more financial, to create more stability in my business or whatever. No, it was unleash yourself from financial bondage. And at that time, I had one of my team members from Kansas City was having a grand opening, and she invited me to come and actually speak at her grand opening. And I took a look at my finances and made the decision that it wouldn't be financially irresponsible for me to spend the money to buy a ticket, to go out and do that. And so that answer for me was actually, at that time, was the perfect answer. Because how can you be influential? How can you live, and inspire people from your heart and grow a strong business if you're inspired to do something and you don't have the funds to be able to do it? And so for me, that was the perfect answer for me. So I want to have some little cue cards here, because we didn't have a whiteboard. So forgive me, I feel like I'm in primary.
Yeah, I am in primary. I'm all for it.
All right. So the next question I asked was, then the next inspiration that came, which was, just kind of drilling down from that, was not, just unleash yourself from financial bondage, but it was become financially independent, so that you can take care of the basics, so that the basics are taken care of. That's what it was. Become financially independent, so the basics are taken care of. And because if the basics are taken care of by residual income, then, the rest of it is just inspiration. You can just go by inspiration, and where are you going to spend the rest of it? So the next question was, how do I know what the basics are? And then, of course, that took me to actually looking at my finances, creating a budget, doing things really good at that, Matt. And actually, coming down with what are my daily action steps. And, so I did actually create kind of a step-by-step plan from that. So we're going to actually do, before the night's over, we're going to actually do a little visualization so that you'll be able to figure out what your next steps are. Okay. So the power of no. All right. I had another opportunity that, actually, I'm going to share a different experience than what I had planned on sharing. This one comes to mind, and it's more recent, and I feel like it'll be more powerful. So we work with Strongbrook. We have a couple of properties that we purchased in Arizona, and the first property we're ready to buy it. We had the money, the cash, and the credit all ready to go. We were pre-qualified. We had the house under contract. We were getting ready to close. And we had somebody come to us and say, hey, we want to partner with you on your house. And we'll come in as the cash partner. You can be the credit partner, and we'll manage it. And so we struck a deal and made an agreement. We created an LLC contract. Everything was good to go. And we've been partners with this couple for about a year and a half. And the property is not cash flowing a lot. It's in the growth market, so there's not a lot of cash flow during the month. So we're anticipating that all of our income is going to come on the back end. So anyway, we're going along great, and our partner contacted us a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, and said, we need to get out of the contract. We need to either have you buy us out, or we need to find another partner. We need to do something, because we need to be out of the contract. So I have no idea what the behind the scenes, what's going on with them. Didn't ask. I just, we're just like, okay, let's look at what the options are. So after we hung up, oh, she has the whiteboard. Look at that.
I'm not sure why Matt said we don't.
Well, I asked him for an easel, and so maybe we don't have an easel.
We don't have an easel, but we do have a whiteboard.
Okay, well, thanks, Lonnie.
You're welcome.
Anyway, we literally came up with 9 options. Now, if you're in fear, when somebody, if somebody throws a wrench in something, what do you immediately start thinking? It's like, oh my gosh, and you kind of start thinking, what the heck are they thinking? And
you start going into
blame
game.
And I'm a victim and everything. And then you all of a sudden think, well, we don't have any options. We're either going to have to buy them out, or we'll have to go into bankruptcy or something.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, what are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. So, but no, when you are living from a space of clarity, then and love, I mean, we are completely, in good relationship with this partner, and we're still, just talking and everything. And we actually sat down, my husband and I sat down, and we came up with 9 options of different things that we could do with this property. And so we definitely have options. Now, out of those 9 options, we went to a mentor. We went to our project manager at Strongbrook, and we sat down with him. He said, we have these 9 options. Actually, I think we had 5 at the time. And then when we went and sat down with him, as we were talking it out, we're like, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? So we came up with a few more. So all total 9. And we sat down and went through each one of those 9, and with someone who was a little bit more knowledgeable than we were, and with our own, kind of getting clear with how we felt about, each of the different decisions, we actually came up with 2 that we felt, we narrowed it down to 2 that we felt like would be good options for us. And there was a third that if the other two were not acceptable to our partner, then we would go to the third, but it was a less desirable, and actually, to tell you the truth, it would be less desirable for them as well. But we do have options. So that's one of the things that I just wanted to let you know, is when you get to a point where you don't have to say, I don't know, when you actually do have access to all the answers, then you can be in that space of complete love and peace and openness and receive, whatever information you need to come up with the options that you need to move forward. Okay, so I want to, actually, I'm going to share with you one other circumstance or whatever experience. I'm sure it's another experience. Okay, so this power of no. All right. I spent 9 days in Florida at a seminar, and it was, I learned some really great things, some really awesome stuff. I got some really inside information, insights into the power of creation and how I can consciously, be more aware of that and moving forward with creating my life. And so I got some really awesome information there. There was a follow-up seminar that's like 4 or 5 days, like a month later. And the person who had invited me to the first one wanted me to come back to the second one. It's in Florida. It would be, 4 or 5 days out of my life, to go. Now, I considered going to this seminar, and then I got really clear with what I really felt like I needed to move myself forward, and I decided that the answer was no, that I wasn't going to go. Okay, so talked to her, and she used every trick in the book to try to get me to change my mind. She gets a little commission, if I go, and plus, we've gotten to be friends, and she says she'd just love to be there with me, which I understand, and it would be fun to go. But everything that she said, I was very clear that no, I've made the decision that I'm choosing a different path. Now, I didn't say no because I didn't think it would be a good thing to do, or I didn't say no because I thought it would be a bad thing to do, or because I wouldn't learn anything, or it wouldn't be a good experience, or whatever. The reason why I said no is because I know where I'm headed. And I also am very clear with the path and the things that I need to have and do to accomplish what I want, where I'm headed. And this, if I had made the choice, if I had allowed myself to be swayed, or if I had gone against, what I felt like was right, then I would actually be taking time and effort and money away from what I know to be with the direction I need to go.
Causes confusion.
Yeah, definitely causes confusion. So I know the direction that I need to go. I know the steps that need to be taken. And if I had made that choice, it would have been like taking a detour. It would have slowed the process. It would have taken time away from actually, getting where I need to go. So this is one of the most important reasons why it's important to know who you are, where you're headed, what you want, have that clearly in your mind so that you can easily say no, because you know what you're saying no to. It's not, there's no way that you're going to get swayed. Now, I want to introduce another word to you that has the word no in it, and it's noble, nobility. Some people have different definitions of what this word is, but to me, this word means to be noble, means to know where you're going, to know who you are, and that no matter what anybody says or does, or no matter what happens, that you stay the course, that you hold true to that. And so to me, that's the definition of nobility, is knowing who you are and where you're going and staying true to that course, no matter what happens. I I can't remember if I mentioned this already, but I do every morning, I do what I call GPS, grounding prayer and scriptures. And I ground myself, and we're going to actually have a chance to do that here, so you can have a chance to ask a higher source for some information for yourself. And so I ground myself, and I ask for information outside of my current knowledge. And I do include prayer with that, and I also do scriptures. And I don't read scriptures like a lot of people do, just like cover to cover. What I do is I just flip it open with my eyes shut, and I just flip pages until it feels right, and I just scan my finger across the page, and as soon as it feels right, I stop, and I open my eyes, and that is what I read. And invariably, I have never had it not apply to the exact thing that I have a question about right then. So try it. This particular day, when I was learning about this, the word no and the word no, how you say no because you know where you're going, this scripture was what I was led to. This is in Abraham 3:22-23. It says, there were many of the noble and great ones. My finger was pointing to the word noble. And it says there were many of the noble and great ones, and God saw these souls that they were good, and he stood in the midst of them, and he said, these I will make my rulers, for he stood among them that were spirits, and he saw that they were good, and he said unto me, Abraham, thou art one of them, thou wast chosen before thou wast born. Now, my finger was pointing to the word noble. And so to me, that was a message to me. And I knew that it fit with this other question that I had about knowing where I wanted to go and knowing when to say no. And I noticed that it had the word no in it. And so I tied that all together. And then I read back through it again, and it says twice, it says, God saw these souls that they were good. And then it says, he stood among those that were spirits, and he saw that they were good. So it said that twice in there. And I thought, there's no coincidences in scriptures. You know, it was hard to write those scriptures. They didn't write it twice just because they were writing it twice. There was some reason why it had to be there twice. And so I really looked at that, and it dawned on me that these spirits were already noble. He went and stood among them and noticed that they were noble. And so these spirits were, God didn't make them noble. He didn't grant them, he didn't, fairy wand them and say, you are my noble one. You're going to go and do this. No, it was, we have always existed the way that we are. And we all have that nobility within us. And so I just wanted to preface that. Okay, I guess I said all that. And the other thing that I thought was really cool about that was God chose to go and hang out with the noble people. And I choose that. When I choose the people that I want to hang out with and be around and soak up their energy, I like to choose people who know where they're going and who are dedicated to that no matter what. So if you want to be that type of person, of course, you want to gather those people around you. So we're going to have a little experience, if you're willing. And so those of you who are listening to the live stream or to the recording, if you want to maybe grab a piece of paper and a pen. And we'll just put everything down for right now, but but you'll probably, have some things come to you that you'll want to jot down. So we're just going to take a couple deep breaths. And I want you to really focus on your breathing. It's really interesting when you get grounded that all of a sudden all this chatter starts going on in your head, and it's like, oh, this is weird and everything. But if you can just get completely away from that and just take a couple deep breaths And really focus on your breathing and just don't think about anything else except maybe the sound of my voice. And just breathe in and breathe out. And as you breathe in this time, I want you to notice that air coming in. And if it helps, you can put a color to the air as you notice it breathing in through your nose and swirling down your throat and into your lungs. And our bodies are just wonderful things that have the ability to separate. They can take the oxygen that our bodies can use, and it keeps that, and then it lets go of the other stuff that's like a poison to us and puts it back into the air so that other living organisms can use that. And so I want you to just be really grateful for your body at this time that it has the ability to do that, to keep all that's good and to let go of everything that isn't serving. And so go ahead and, hey Tricia, come on in. We're just doing a little visualization. Just getting yourself grounded. So let that air fill your whole body, the core of your body, all the way down through your legs and your feet and your toes, down your arms and into your hands and your fingertips. And just go ahead and notice how light and airy you feel. And we're going to be asking for some information that's possibly outside of your current understanding with your brain. And so I'm going to ask you to just kind of shut that brain off right now and really focus on your heart. Keep your eyes closed, but look down towards your heart and just visualize that the heart pumping and taking that oxygen and blood all throughout your whole body, and just allow your body to function normally and just to be completely at peace with that. So a couple things I want to do. And so first of all, what I want you to do is just really visualize yourself stepping away from your body, and it's going to be completely fine. Your body will continue to function normally. And but I want you to just take a step away, and we're going to walk down a beautiful path, and you get to pick what that means, whether it's outside, in a tropical forest, maybe in a pine forest, wherever you'd like to be. You just pick wherever is beautiful and peaceful and feels very calm to you, and just walk down that path. Notice that you can feel plants brushing against you, maybe breeze on your face, maybe a little bit of either ocean spray or maybe a mist of rain falling on your cheeks. And you can smell the smells around you, either pine or sea air or whatever, wherever you're at. You just notice that and look around and notice all the colors. Maybe flowers, the sky, the ocean, the sand, the trees, everything that you see, and everything is just brilliant colors. You don't have the cumbersome thing of, you don't have the cumbersome body that you have to look through. You're actually looking at things from a more pure source, and you're able to see things much more clearly. So as you're walking along, you just find a clearing, and I want you to go ahead and just find a comfortable spot to sit yourself down or lay yourself down, maybe lean up against a tree or a rock or wherever feels comfortable. And wherever you're sitting, it just has a nice cushy spot underneath to sit on. And just lean back. Take a couple more deep breaths. Look around one more time. And then I want you to just look down at your body. Look down at this being that has brought you here to this beautiful place. And as you look, I want you to describe, and those of you who are here, if you can just describe to me what you see of yourself.
Peaceful.
Peaceful and relaxed. What else?
Just in my element.
In my element.
Content.
Content.
Control.
In control. Can you describe what you see? What do you look like?
I'm lying in a kayak.
Lying in a
So-
kayak.
I'm in my swimming suit.
Uh-huh. Your swimming suit.
And my glasses are off.
Glasses are off. Don't have to wear glasses. Okay, look beyond the physical. What do you see?
Ability and potential.
Ability and potential. What else?
Someone who doesn't know how to give up.
Someone who doesn't know how to give up. All right, we're going to take just a little side trip from this. You're going to stay in the same place, but I want you to put your mind in this a little bit. Keep your eyes closed. And I want you to think about the characteristic or the whatever it is about you that you like to keep secret, that you don't want anybody to find out, that if you could change one thing about yourself, this is what it would be, and that you wish didn't exist about yourself. And I want you to look at that person that is sitting there and tell me how that feels. Does it feel like that fits? Or does it feel incongruent and out of alignment?
Out of line.
Yeah. So my experience with the hundreds of people that I've worked with and mentoring with myself personally is that whatever you see as your greatest weakness, or what you perceive as your greatest weakness, is actually a clue to your greatest strength. And if you can flip it around and look at it from a different perspective, that it actually is a clue for you, and this is your gift to humanity. So while you're in this space, I'd like you to turn that around, whatever it was, and I'll give you just a minute or so to get back into your heart instead of your head. You've got this idea or thought that there's something that is incongruent with your spirit that you've looked at as a weakness or an undesirable thing. I'd like you to see if you can see that from a slightly different perspective and how that might actually bless people. As soon as you have an idea, I'd love to hear.
Can you restate this question?
So getting back into your heart and back into this peaceful place and noticing that you have this wonderful being, you're this wonderful being that is pure and has no ability to fail, and knowing that there's this thing that you think is a weakness or something that is undesirable. Is there possibly a way that you can look at this as a clue? And if you can flip it around and look at it from a slightly different angle or different perspective, is it possible that that thing that you have looked at as a negative could actually be a positive and could actually support other people, could actually be a blessing for other people?
Yeah, so I was thinking about a tendency that I have had sometimes to judge people on what they choose to do and what I think they should do instead of what they're doing.
Okay.
And I realized that the thing that I could do is continue to notice people and what they do, and instead celebrate everyone's opportunity to choose for themselves and help people to know that they get to choose their own path and that that's the best thing for them is for them to get to choose.
Awesome. That's awesome, Bonnie. So just to repeat in case the video didn't hear, so you have a tendency to notice people's things that you might have considered faults or judge them, and you're seeing how this actually might be a gift, that you actually have the ability to notice people, and you can see things that maybe they're not able to see, and that if you turn it around into a positive, that it might actually turn into to be something that you could actually inspire other people in a way to become better. Did I restate that correctly? Okay, good, thank you. So I appreciate you sharing that, Bonnie. So the rest of you, you can go ahead and come back to the present and back to yourselves. Does anybody else have an experience that they'd like to share?
Mine is, I kind of, sometimes I feel inauthentic. And I think most of the time because I want to be a people pleaser and I want to make people happy. But I also think though that if I can use the word no,
Okay.
that it will actually strengthen others to do for themselves what they were asking me to do.
And do you feel also, if you can use that word no, that will actually contribute to you being more authentic?
Yeah, it will help me become who I really want to be instead of always just being the guy.
Yeah. And once you become, stand in your power and your authentic self, that immediately gives other people permission to do that.
Yeah.
So cool. And so you said that, you feel like you're a people pleaser. And so maybe looking at that from a different perspective, it could be that you have a very good heart, that you love people and that you want to support them and assist them, but maybe you just had a slightly off view of what that means. That for you to be able to love people authentically, it means, being more honest. So, yeah. So I'm actually out of time. So I would love to keep going, but I wanted to be able to teach that to you because this question that I asked at the very beginning, what is the next step that you can take to create a stronger and a more inspiring or influential business for yourself? All you have to do is just get yourself grounded. Just know that you're asking from an outside source and just do basically that same little exercise that we did and just ask a question. What's the next step that I can do to create a stronger and more influential business? There's one other thing that I was going to share, but it just left me. So apparently I wasn't supposed to share that. So thank you so much for your participation tonight and for being here. I appreciated the opportunity to be able to share. And Matt and Ryan, because I know Ryan Armstrong was the one that asked me to speak. And so I really appreciate the opportunity. And I'm excited to get my Ben and Jerry's. So, thanks, Matt. Back to Matt.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
So appreciate you coming. Appreciate you sharing. I thought it was great. One little thing I picked out was I love that GPS.
Yeah.
Ground, pray, and scripture. I just thought that was clever. That was great. And
Wouldn't have a day without it.
yeah. And I wholly agree the concepts, and it was wonderful to hear you walk us through that and ground and seek that inspiration, seek that knowledge beyond just ourselves. Thank you.
I remembered what the one other thing was.
Please do.
And it kind of ties into probably what you're going to go into, so we'll be transition.
Okay, great.
I go to my higher source for this type of information. When I don't know, when I say I don't know, that's immediately what I do. There's another source that I also tap into, and that is mentors, because they can see things that I can't see. They can see things about me. They have maybe more experience because they've been where I want to go. And so a lot of times I'll go there first. And, you know, I honor the information that they give me. If it's somebody that I really appreciate where they've been, and I want to go where they've been, then I honor that, and I immediately act. Same with inspiration that I receive from a higher source. To me, there's magic in it, and the magic happens when you act immediately. So just last little tips.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so as I mentioned at the beginning, we wanted to create a kind of event that, just by the nature of coming to, that would qualify you in a way to say you may have some interest, at least to know what we do, and it may be a good fit for you as well. You know, I don't know, of course, but we'll see, I guess. So to jump into that, I wanted to, we will be certainly talking about mentorship and mentors as a part of this. I wanted to ask a question, just kind of do a thought experiment as well with you. If you can imagine, just imagine for a moment in your mind what it is that you bring in monthly as far as your household income. Just find that number, doesn't have to be perfect. More or less what that number is. How much income do you bring in monthly? And then do some math with me. Take that number, divide it by 2. So about half, whatever your monthly income is, half of that. Now imagine just for a moment that something happened. Downsize, part-time, whatever, and that is now your new monthly income. That is what you have to live on. What does that do inside for you? What comes up?
Sadly, it's like, been there, done that before.
Does it bring up any kind of emotion though? I mean, does it when you had to do that before, what kind of emotion did that bring up?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a struggle. It's not something I want to go back to. So
yeah, fair enough. So we'll not stay there long. You know, don't worry, you are where you are. You're making the income that you're bringing in. But now do another math step for me. Whatever that number was, that half of your income, add that again to what you're currently making, and imagine that is your current income.
I like that.
What does that bring up?
It's like, yes, there's more that I can do. Yeah.
It's pleasant, right? There's a greater flow coming in. It's awesome. Notice that what I didn't say was anything about the state of your bank account. I didn't say it was completely gone, it was broke, it was zero, and I didn't say there was $1 million in it. It didn't matter. What mattered was the flow, the income. And I believe there's a reason to that. And that is that personally, I believe that our resources are meant to be used, not hoarded or, wasted, so to speak. And I want to talk about that a moment. I personally believe that we have a social epidemic right now of an accumulation mindset. It's the state that we're in. We're seeing people with significant numbers trying to reach retirement age and not able to retire because it just goes against principle. They've been taught all their lives this faulty mindset, this accumulation mindset, that we try to build up enough money so that we can live off of it, and it just doesn't work. And it's not just that the math doesn't work, it doesn't, but it's because it goes against principle. The principle that resources are to be used.
Well, sorry, I don't want to. Go ahead. But, it reminds me of the game Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki. But I think about it, and when they sit here and say, okay, put money in your 401k, put money into this, put money into this, save. What is the end goal of saving all that money? The real end goal is to have a cash flow each month out of that income. And it goes, why do I have to work so long to save up that much money? Why don't I just create something that gives me that more cash flow each month? I can create something that's not going to take me 40 years to get built up to get me that cash flow. When I can take, that same amount of money that I'm putting into savings, I can put that into building something that's going to bring me that cash flow within a couple years, 3 years, 4 years. And it's just, no, I just had that realization. It's like,
that's an aha for me too.
Thank you.
yeah, because the end goal of saving is to have cash flow.
Right, the idea is that you can, and if you want to live the same lifestyle you're living now, I got news for you. It ain't gonna work to just live off the interest in that way. There are ways, because we're not using the resources to bless other people in such a way that it brings an income back to us. It's essentially a way of burying the talent because we're scared to lose it, right? Instead of using it, putting it to use and having a return. Because we are stewards. I personally believe firmly that we are stewards. What we have isn't just ours to, take claim on. We are stewards, and that means what we have isn't ours. What we have is for us to put to use, that is supposed to provide for us and more to provide for the master as well. That's what we're here to do, to be stewards of our resources. There's a lot of ways to do that, and a lot of ways to create wealth doing that. Let me tell you about one. One is real estate. There's a lot of ways to do real estate, so let me tell you about one. A little of my personal story. I was doing the math. I didn't understand the concept of flow and things like that when I was, I first got my first job. I was in the honeymoon period of having a real paycheck. It was awesome. I could actually buy something. It was amazing for a number of months. And then the honeymoon period faded for me. And so I started looking, and I saw real estate education. I dabbled in that, and I quickly realized this isn't going to cut it for me. I don't know. What I do know is this isn't my competence. I don't trust myself to go figure out all this stuff to do real estate and invest in real estate because it's not my competence, and I don't want it to be my competence. It's not what I'm passionate about. It's not my passion. It's not my gift to the world. I just don't care. And so when I was introduced to a company called Strongbrook, somewhat begrudgingly at the time, because I'd already had my experience with the real estate education and was tired of it, I was surprised to find a company that told me, we don't trust you to do the real estate yourself. I said, thank you. I don't either. That was news to me, that a company would be that blunt and say it like that. And I was appreciative because it was honest. And so we did our due diligence, decided to team up with this company called REIC at the time, now called Strongbrook. And they have helped us invest in real estate. We have a plan that's a 5 to 10 year, well, ours is a 10-year game plan. And the goal is for us to own 7 to 8 homes free and clear, plus our primary residence, that are cash flowing, around $8,000 a month. That, for us, is a retirement. And like you said, it doesn't matter. I don't know what our net worth will be. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's creating that flow sooner.
It just boggles my mind. To have an $8,000 a month cash flow, do you know how much money you would have to have saved in a retirement fund? Like a ridiculous amount, like millions of dollars.
I don't know the math, but yeah, it's significant. And so that, not to mention the effects of inflation by the time you get there and things like that, which real estate naturally is one vehicle that takes care of that. So again, the idea though of this goes back to the principle. It's using our resources in a way that blesses other people, provides housing for them, and in return, provides a return for us. It's living the principle of using our resources, not hoarding them or squandering them. So that was how this company got started. They facilitated real estate investment for people. I loved it. I've been a client for about 4 years. We own 3 homes. One is in partnership, as Wylene referred to, being a credit partner. And the other 2 are just ours, and they're doing fantastic. We love them. We're hoping to buy our next one this year, and things are just going great. After I was a part of the company for about 1.5 years, it created a referral program. Found out that the company had been spending $100,000 a month. You can think about that, $100,000 a month in marketing, just in radio ads, TV ads, you name it, billboards, newspaper, whatever.
See, I remember these ads. I remember them.
I never saw them.
I was gonna go to the seminars, and then I was going through a divorce, and I was like, I can't do it. So I really wish I would have now.
I never saw them. However, I went to learn about this. I mean, that just for me boggled my mind. $100,000 a month for that, and they were, they would basically cross the fingers and hope people would come. Well, in the meantime, they had clients that were referring people and saying, hey, this is awesome for me. I sent my friend to you. You think you could, send me kickback? They joined. That'd be cool. And they said, sure. Yeah, we'll do that. Well, after a while, they found out that over 60% of their business was coming in word of mouth. And the $100,000 a month was bringing in less than 40%. Now, if you were a business owner, what would you do?
Smart business.
Not
Not the $1,000.
Yeah, you don't have to have an MBA to figure this one out. So they turned off all the money spend, and they turned it over to the people who were referring and created a very sophisticated referral program. And through that, have sponsored a culture of entrepreneurship within the company, within its clients, to create a business if you so choose. Some people take it passively and just refer friends here and there. Some people create a business. That's what we're doing here. When we said we wanted to use the ice cream as part of our business, that's part of our business, referring people to Strongbrook. They want to invest in properties. There's also another side to Strongbrook that we also are able to refer people. Before I jump in there, I realized that I failed to mention something. To participate in Strongbrook on the real estate side, there's a number of different ways to come in. It ranges from anywhere from starting with $99 a month, all the way up to a one-time of $16,000. There's a number of different things in between there. If this is resonating with you, let's talk. And we can get you a free, no obligation game plan. They'll walk with you and say, here's what we would do for you. And, does it look good to you? Does it not? We'll figure out what would be appropriate for you to come in at if it resonates with you. So that's kind of the spectrum there. Now, on the other end of it, it turned out that when someone would come in and want to do real estate, they would maybe pay $16,000 or $8,000 depending on where they would come in, and they'd come to buy a home and they get ready, everything was all set, they had their financing in place, they had the home, it was looking good, and it was time to close, and they were getting cold feet because they were actually doing real estate, and that kind of made them nervous. It brought up stuff for them. And so it turned out that the coaches that were helping them facilitate all this kind of were starting to turn into mentors. Okay, see how can we help you get past your block, your own mental roadblocks, things like that. Also, the founder of the company, his name is Chris Crone, is a firm believer in mentorship. That's how he got started with his own real estate investments that led him to form this company, and it's just been a passion of his. So he decided, you know what, we need to bring mentorship to the common man. Right now, in the way the industry works, if you want to work with a mentor one-on-one, you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars, and not very many people are going to be able to do that very many times in their lives, if at all. Let's see if we can really bring mentorship to the common man. So he reached out and talked to all the many different mentors that he has worked with, which has been his privilege due to the wealth he's created, and said, would you donate some of your programs, not the free marketing stuff that you have, but some of the digital programs that you charge hundreds, maybe $1,000 for, and just put it in a vault. And we're having all these different mentors put all this content in a vault, all in one place that people can access for a subscription of $99 a month. The common man can afford $99 a month if they desire to. And that makes all of this mentorship, all of these minds that have discovered so much, like Wylene shared with us today. She just shared a little nugget with us, and how much value was there. Imagine a network of incredible mentors sharing all these kinds of nuggets that you can apply into your life and make your life better. See, the reason this resonates with me is, I don't know if you believe as I do, but I believe that lifelong learning and personal growth is not just a nice idea. I believe that it's a fundamental characteristic of life's purpose. That's why we're here. To learn, to grow, to become. And we help each other in that process, on that path, in that road. And this is just one way to have access to so much great ideas, so much ideas and information to help you progress. What is, Wylene asked the question for us specifically in our business, what is the next step for you to take? Well, let's expand that a little, if I may. In your life, in your family, what's the next step for you to take? Is it possible that you may receive inspiration that you don't even know how to act on, but there's someone who does that can help you? That's what mentorship offers. So we do, that is available for a subscription of $99 a month. It also, we have a free app coming out. It's expected around the end of the month. I know software development, and so it's never exactly set. You never know exactly when it's going to be ready, but it's expected later this month. And it will have nuggets that will be just free. You don't even have to pay the $99. It's a free app. You can get some basic information, but then there's a premium upgrade to the $99 a month if you feel like this is great, I want more, if it resonates with you. So with that, whoever sent this to you or invited you, get back with them if this resonates with you. If you just happen to find us online or something, feel free to reach out to us through our YouTube or our Facebook pages. We'd be happy to connect you. And with that, I need to jut away for just a second. I'll be right back because I have something. There we go. In the technology world, they like to do unboxings.
Oh.
So,
I love the unboxings.
this is an unboxing
Is this
of
new?
Cherry Garcia.
Oh, that's the one I chose.
Yep.
Do I get to come up there?
You bet, come on up. So Wylene has never had Ben & Jerry's.
Oh,
I know.
So it is my, I'm cut on your mic now.
Yeah.
It is my privilege to do an unboxing for her of Cherry
This is
Garcia.
awesome. I've never done this before. I've never done an unboxing.
I want to start doing unboxings. I just gotta get companies to send me stuff.
Thank you.
So you see the chocolate, there's the camera. Chocolate chunks, some cherry, it's a cherry ice cream. It's beautiful if you like cherries.
Oh, I'm
I don't like
excited.
cherries, but she does, so it's great. So there to you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Cherry Garcia. And to you online, you're welcome to join us and come get some free Ben & Jerry's. Those of us here will enjoy some now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next week is Lviv Roberts will be speaking, and her topic is Life is Beautiful. And if you happen to know Lviv and know a bit about her story, she's just so real. She's down to earth, and I love Lviv. She's great. You will be very glad to be here and listen to her.
This is very good. Thank you.
You bet. So thank you all, and see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
All right. You bet. Thank you. All right, so let's go get some Ben & Jerry's.
Awesome.
Now,
Do people like eat a whole one of these?